Hi, Kriegsspielers. It's Umpire LaFondios. I'm standing on the observation tower at the Königgrätz battlefield. And behind me, there's a long road that is the road that leads to Sadowa, which was the village that was the center of the Prussian line. I'm standing at Chlum in the very middle of the battlefield. This is the high ground on the battlefield. I'm now looking west in that village, or you're looking west, you're looking past me. The village over my shoulder is Lipa, where the Austrian Benedek, the CIC, had his command post, and where I'm standing is in Chlum. So when the Prussians actually reached at around 3 o'clock, they reached where I'm standing now, and they actually pushed the Austrians out of Chlum. The Benedek was sitting in that village right over there, and he didn't even really know it. And a messenger came in, a colonel came in and said, the Prussians are in Chlum. And Benedek didn't believe it, so he took some of his staff officers and they rode from there toward me. And they rode all the way up, and in fact had many of his staff officers killed by Prussians that were sitting behind me in the trees there that picked them off. So Benedek at that point saw himself where he thought he was winning the battle until he realized that the Prussians had actually reached this point, which had penetrated his line, which is behind the camera, and which I showed you earlier. So right there, you can just picture the CIC roving over with some staff members, and many of them being wounded or killed by just a leader's recon gone very, very wrong. So that happened right here. As I'm looking from the Austrian lines north, what's interesting is that when you look at a map, all of the hills are very pronounced, and you see this idea of kind of these almost dome-like hills when they're portrayed on a map. Chlum itself looks like looks like it sits on a dome, but in fact, if you're here, the slopes are quite gentle, which is not what you'd expect. So when they say the heights of Chlum, what they're talking about certainly is higher ground, but it'd be more like the top of a slope. I'll also point out that you can see the clouds above me. On July 3rd, 1866, it rained all day. So in fact, it's a bit chilly right now, and it's cool, and it will probably rain a little bit later today, much like it was back in the period. I'm here on July 16th, so a little bit later in the month, but it gives you a sense for it was not at all a hot day. It didn't stop raining the day of the battle until the afternoon. That's the report for now, Kriegsspielers. On July 16th, 2025, I visited the Königgrätz battlefield and took quite a bit of video and several photos. I also detailed the battle for myself, so I knew where to go. So I'm going to walk you through several elements of that trip. We'll do short videos just so you can get little snippets, and I hope you enjoy seeing what it's like to visit a battlefield in Czechia. We'll see you out there.